An elderly millionaire passed away from natural causes, and his children were summoned to his mansion for the reading of the will and the division of the inheritance. However, the family's lawyer revealed something that left the heirs astounded. Marcos, a man of immense wealth and envy, died on a rainy autumn night, shocking the city's rich and influential. The question of what would happen to his vast fortune lingered in the air, creating an atmosphere of sadness and concern about what was to come. Before his death, Marcos had meticulously prepared a detailed document outlining how his assets should be managed. He called his children to a meeting in his grand residence, where he had always wielded significant power. It was expected that the gathering would not only concern money, but also the deep-seated resentments that permeated the opulent home. The three children of Marcos, each with their own hopes and fears, entered the mansion nervously. As the night progressed, long-buried secrets began to surface. What was supposed to be a peaceful meeting quickly transformed into a dangerous game of lies and betrayal. In that luxurious house, the fate of Marcos's fortune was sealed. Aware that his end was near, Marcos made decisions about the division of his assets and how his children would inherit them. Among the heirs, Elena stood out as different from the rest of the family. While everyone else focused solely on the wealth, she valued a simple life and sought a purpose beyond material possessions. Despite being criticized and despised by her half-siblings, João and Vera, Elena devoted herself to social causes and exploring the world through travel. This attitude greatly bothered her family, who loved to flaunt their power through money. While João and Vera lived in opulence but bitterness, Elena was a constant reminder that money could not buy true freedom or authenticity. After Marcos's death, Mr. Gary, the family's most loyal lawyer, gathered the siblings together once more. With a voice laden with sorrow and seriousness, he said, "It is good that we are all here, but it is with a heavy heart that I must read the will of my dear friend Marcos." Choking back emotion, he continued, "Let us all proceed to the meeting room to begin." As they entered the room, the lawyer closed the doors to start the reading of the will. Elena, always kind-hearted, offered a seat to Vera, whom she had always had a great sentimental affection for, even though Vera was only her half-sister. "Here, Vera, this seat is empty just for you," Elena said with a smile. Vera, hearing this, replied, "Thank you, but it's not necessary. I'll sit next to my brother," her tone sharp. Once everyone was seated, Mr. Gary began reading Marcos's will. "Welcome, everyone. I will now commence the reading of the will for the division of assets. It's important to note that no one knows what is written in these pages except for Mr. Marcos himself," he said, his voice still heavy with the loss of his oldest client and friend. "I, Marcos, write my own will because I feel myself fading away each day. To avoid choosing who will inherit my fortune, I have prepared 2 challenges for you, my heirs. Whoever performs best will inherit everything I owned," he read, leaving the room in stunned silence. They were left in shock upon discovering this. João, visibly irritated, raised his voice and exclaimed, "How do I have to compete for this? I am the eldest son. By right, I should receive the majority without having to face any ridiculous challenge like this." Elena, trying to calm her clearly agitated half-brother, responded, "Calm down, João. I know this may seem absurd to you, but this is our father's last wish. We must respect his decision." Vera interrupted Elena, saying, "Respect his decision? We are the legitimate children. You are just the daughter of that maid. I don't understand what our father saw in you. You shouldn't even be sitting at this table." Realizing that the situation was beginning to spiral out of control, Mr. Gary, with the wisdom acquired from years of experience and his deep understanding of the 3 siblings, intervened, "Please, everyone, let's keep calm. As Elena mentioned, we must respect your father's last wish. The rest of the will contains instructions on how to carry out the challenges. Let's all rest tonight while I prepare everything for tomorrow. Please, choose your rooms. You grew up in this mansion and know every corner. We will reconvene then." The 3 retreated to their rooms. As night fell, Elena lay in her bed, tears streaming down her face, thinking, "Why do they treat me this way? I never did anything against them. On the contrary, I always wanted to play and integrate when we were children, but they never wanted to, so I distanced myself." Thus ended that fateful night, with the three siblings falling asleep, Elena in sadness, while João and Vera were irritated at having to compete for something they considered theirs by right. The following morning, they were awakened by Mr. Gary, who offered a hearty breakfast in bed, informing them they had only 30 minutes to prepare, as the game room was ready for the competition that would decide the fate of the entire fortune. After breakfast, Gary gathered everyone in the living room and began explaining how the challenge dynamics would work. "I hope everyone slept well because today you will need a lot of energy to complete the challenges. That's why I provided a protein-rich breakfast for everyone. There will be only 2 challenges." João then laughed and commented, "Finally, some good news in this story. Just 2 challenges. At least this absurdity won't consume much of my time, and I can get my fortune faster." Vera, not letting João finish, intervened, "That's what you think, brother. If you believe you'll get the entire fortune just for yourself, you're going crazy." Before the conversation could intensify, the family lawyer continued, "As I was saying, there will be only 2 challenges. In the first challenge, each of you will enter a completely dark room where there will be 3 boxes on the floor. In one of them, there will be a snake, in another, a scorpion, and the third will be empty." João and Vera were outraged, asking, "What? Do you want us to die? What's the point of this challenge? How do we succeed?" Gary explained, "In each of the 3 boxes, there will be a copy of the key to the door leading to a safe room where I will be ready to treat your injuries if you choose the wrong box. I will also explain the second and final challenge." Without letting them say anything else, one of the maids led the heirs to the dark room to begin the challenge. The 3 entered separate rooms, all completely dark, where they couldn't see anything. They had to feel the floor to find the boxes and open them carefully, knowing that 2 contained venomous animals. "Oh my God, how can I know what's in the boxes and which one to open?" thought João, fear evident in his body. Meanwhile, in Vera's room, she muttered, "How can they make us go through this? If the scorpion stings me, I could die." Incredibly, both started the challenge and finished at the same time. Vera opened a box and was unfortunately bitten by the snake. João was stung by the scorpion. Both grabbed the key copy and ran to the safe room. There, crying, they were received by Elena and Gary, who helped clean their wounds and apply the antidote. Surprised, Vera asked, "How are you already here? And you don't have any bite marks on your hands or arms. How did you know which box was empty?" Before Elena could respond, Mr. Gary took the floor, commanding everyone's attention. "Now that everyone has completed the challenge, I will continue," the lawyer said with a firm voice. "This challenge, as you may have noticed, is about how you handle imminent danger and how quickly you can make important decisions, such as choosing which box to open. Now, I will show the scores." The lawyer then revealed the scoreboard, showing Elena in the lead ahead of Vera and João, as she had completed the first challenge in less than 2 minutes, while the siblings born with silver spoons in their mouths took exactly 30 minutes. João then spoke rudely, "How could this wretched daughter of a maid be faster than us?" Vera questioned, "You must have cheated. I'm sure of it." Mr. Gary interrupted once more, explaining the second challenge so they could conclude the tasks that afternoon. "Let's continue," he said, raising his voice to silence the siblings. "The second challenge will take place outside the mansion. We have constructed a mirror maze, and you will go through it one at a time. Whoever finishes the maze in the shortest time will win the challenge." One of the maids once again guided the 3 to the challenge area. As they walked, Vera discreetly pulled João aside, saying, "We can't let her win. Did you see how she did in the first challenge?" João added, "We need to do something. What if we delay her in this challenge?" Vera, confused, asked, "How can we do that?" After a few minutes, João devised a plan to eliminate Elena from the competition. Gary explained, "You will go through the maze in order of age. So, Joao will go first, then you, and finally Elena. Vera nodded and asked, "Yes, but how are we going to delay her?" Joao then began detailing his plan. "I'll go ahead and mark the path so you can get out faster. You, in the middle of the maze, will change the position of one of the mirrors, making her get trapped in a dead end." Vera, finding the plan amusing, laughed loudly and agreed with Joao's strategy. Both then headed to the mansion's exterior area, where the maze was located. On the other side, Mr. Gary stood with a microphone to communicate with the heirs. "As I mentioned, the three of you will enter the maze in order of age," he reminded, emphasizing that whoever completed the challenge in the least time would win the fortune. Joao and Vera discreetly agreed that regardless of who won, they would divide the inheritance equally between themselves, excluding Elena. The lawyer then instructed, "All right, Joao, please prepare to enter the maze and good luck." In the first 5 minutes, Joao got lost several times, but upon finding the correct path, he began marking the route with his finger on the glass of the mirrors, drawing arrows indicating the way for Vera. He finished the challenge in exactly 22 minutes. The veteran lawyer then announced, "Congratulations, Joao. You completed the maze challenge well. Now it's your turn, Vera. Please prepare at the maze entrance, and on the count of 3, start." Vera started the challenge and soon noticed the arrows left by her brother. Like a true schemer and a sly person, she followed the marks, knowing they would help her complete the maze quickly. Vera began erasing the arrows halfway through the maze and managed to turn one of the mirrors, blocking the correct path, making the challenge impossible for Elena. With the path clearly marked for her, Vera completed the challenge in record time, less than 15 minutes. She was greeted at the end of the maze by Joao, who began to celebrate. That's it. The inheritance is all ours. You were so fast, little sister." Mr. Gary then asked Elena to prepare for her turn. "Elena, now it's your turn. Good luck. We're eager to see you at the end." Joao looked at Vera and asked, "Did you do it?" Vera responded with a smug smile. "What do you think? Remember when we were kids, and I always got what I wanted?" Joao then laughed, saying, "I think Elena won't get a single cent of our money." More than 30 minutes into the challenge, Elena began, "Oh my God, help me. I can't find the right path. It feels like this maze has no end. I've tried every direction, and none of them lead out." As the challenge neared the 1-hour mark, a cry could be heard from inside the maze, "I'm lost. I give up and renounce the entire inheritance. Can someone please get me out of here?" The lawyer then requested a helicopter to rescue Elena, while the two spoiled siblings began to celebrate. After being rescued, Elena and the 3 heirs were invited back to the meeting room to hear the final results of the challenges. Upon their arrival, the lawyer announced, "Well, we have reached the end of the 2 challenges, and now I will announce the winner of Marcos's fortune." As no surprise to anyone, since Elena chose to withdraw from the challenge, she is out of the competition. The 2 siblings laughed while Elena hung her head, sad because, despite everything, that fortune would have made a significant difference in her life and projects. In the first challenge, Vera and Joao tied, each finishing in exactly 30 minutes. Therefore, the second challenge was crucial for the tiebreaker. With a dramatic pause, the lawyer revealed, "Vera, you completed the second challenge in record time. So, you have won your father's inheritance." Joao stood and applauded his sister. Vera then began, her voice filled with happiness and emotion. "Thank you very much, but I still have something to do. As the humble person I am, I have decided to divide my prize equally. I have decided to share it with my brother, my blood sibling, and legitimate heir. And Elena, please, you can leave our mansion." Hearing this, Elena, who had held a glimmer of hope from Vera's words, stood up crying and walked towards the exit. At that moment, Vera began pressing the lawyer. "Come on, Gary. Where's the will so I can sign and transfer everything to my name?" Mr. Gary then began organizing the documents and handed a pen to Vera to sign. Before Elena could leave the room and before Vera could sign the documents, A mysterious man entered the room and shouted, "Lawyer, nullify that document. I have proof that the two conspired against Elena." Mr. Gary, surprised, asked, "How is that? Who are you?" The mysterious man revealed himself. "I am an old friend of Marcos. My name is Roberto. He trusted me on his deathbed and asked me to oversee the division of his inheritance." Roberto continued, "Marcos told me about his plan to decide who would inherit his fortune and was well aware of the character of his two children. That's why he asked me to observe all the challenges from a distance." Joao then began to shout, "You're crazy. You can't prove anything. We played fair with Elena. Joao and I care for Elena, even if she is our half-sister." Roberto then spoke firmly, "Oh really? Then what is this?" He played a video on the main television in the meeting room. The video showed Joao and Vera in the corridors, with audio of them plotting the plan to trap Elena in the maze. Vera then stood up and screamed, "That's a lie. It's a poorly made fake." The detective then switched to another video, capturing the exact moment Vera, inside the maze, moved the mirror to block the correct path.